When you think about Australia, you might imagine beaches, wildlife, or the Sydney Opera House. But when you actually spend time there, it's the small everyday things that feel the most interesting. Things that seem normal to locals, but completely surprising to everyone else. And once you notice them, you start realizing life in Australia works a little bit differently than in most places. Weather that doesn't just change, it flips completely. In Sydney and other parts of Australia, storms don't just feel like a bad weather. They can turn the whole city upside down. One minute everything looks normal, people are out, sky is fine, and then suddenly these heavy storms roll in fast. And when it rains, it doesn't hold back. It can go from nothing to absolute downpour in minutes. The kind of rain where you actually have to stop walking because you can't see properly. And the sound gets so loud it's almost overwhelming. It comes down hard enough that streets start flooding in certain areas, especially lower parts of the city, where water just builds up quickly. And it's not just rain. You get strong winds that knock branches straight off trees. Sometimes entire trees come down onto roads or cars. You'll see streets blocked off, leaves and debris everywhere, traffic lights swinging, and people just trying to get home safely while it's still going. Even after the storm passes, you still see the aftermath broken branches and sidewalks, puddles everywhere, and cleanup crews out fixing what got hit. But what surprises visitors is how normal it feels to locals. These storms aren't rare dramatic storms, they're just something that can happen. Extreme UV that actually changes how people live. In Australia, the sun isn't just nice weather, it's something people actually respect. On a normal day, the UV levels can get so high that being outside for too long without protection isn't just uncomfortable. It can genuinely burn your skin faster than most visitors expect. That's why people don't treat sunscreen like something optional. It's just part of leaving the house. You'll see people putting it on even for short trips like walking to the shops or sitting outside for a bit. And it's not just sunscreen. Hats, sunglasses, long sleeves, especially during summer, are just normal. Schools remind kids constantly. Outdoor events often have shaded areas built in. Even sports schedules sometimes avoid the harshest parts of the day. What surprises visitors is how aware people are of it without even thinking. Before going out, many locals will literally check the UV index, like checking the time or temperature. Because in Australia, the sun isn't something you ignore, it's something you plan around. And that's where a lot of tourists go wrong. They don't expect the sun to be as harsh as it is in Australia. Some cities sit right next to the ocean. In parts of Australia, the most big cities, life is built very close to the ocean. Not every city is like that, but in major places like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth, the coastline plays a huge role in daily life. You can be in a busy city center surrounded by buildings, traffic, and work life. And within a short distance, you're suddenly at the beach or cliffs overlooking the water. That proximity changes how people live without even realizing it. For Australians, this is just normal. People finish work and go for a swim or meet friends by the ocean instead of going to the city at night. Weekends often naturally revolve around coastal areas because it's just there and easy. Even the city layout feels influenced by it. Long coastal walks, beachfront suburbs, and open public spaces that face the water. For visitors, it stands out how quickly the environment shifts from urban noise to open ocean without it feeling like a separate world. And that's something incredible. Beaches that don't look real sometimes. One of the most surprising things in Australia is how unreal the beaches can look in everyday life. It's not just a nice coastline. In many places, the water is so clear and the sand so bright that it almost looks edited in real life. You'll see stretches of white sand with almost no one on them. turquoise water that changes color depending on the light, and cliffs or rock formations that make the whole coastline feel different from place to place. And the strange part is how normal it is for locals. For them, these aren't special places you visit once a year, they're just part of the environment. Somewhere you might go for a quick swim, a walk, or just sit for a bit after work. But for visitors, it often feels like a moment where you actually stop and think, this doesn't look real for everyday life. How is this possible? Because in many places, beaches like this would be considered a destination. Here, it's just another part of the coastline. Christmas by the beach. In Australia, Christmas doesn't look like what most people imagine. Instead of snow, fireplaces, and heavy winter coats, it happens in the middle of summer, in the sunny, bright, hot weather. Which means that instead of sitting by the Christmas tree at home, families often celebrate Christmas Day outside, going to the beach, having picnics, doing barbecues, going for swims. So it's normal to see Santa hats at the beach on Christmas Day. Beaches packed with people, and even the food can be different. Because it's often too hot for the heavy meals associated with Christmases, many families serve seafood, fresh salads, tropical fruits, cold desserts, and other lighter dishes instead. It feels almost surreal if you're used to winter Christmas traditions, because the same holiday suddenly takes place in flip flops, heat, and ocean water instead of snow. But for locals, it's just how it is every year. Christmas, but with summer energy. So, what do you think? Were any of these completely normal to you, or did some of them surprise you? Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and which one you found the most interesting. And if you're from Australia, I'd love to hear what you think is totally normal here, but would seem strange almost anywhere else. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.